to the Superbone channel. We're interviewing top trombonists from around the world for International Trombone Week 2020. And next we have Nick Laufer, and he's hailing from Nashville, Tennessee. Nick, say hi to the audience.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me, Michael.
No worries. I first met Nick when he was performing as part of Maniacal Four at the Slide Factory Festival in Rotterdam. Nick, I've got the T-shirt on today, actually.
Oh man, I wish I still had mine. That's so awesome. It was so soft. I remember that.
Yeah, it was great. So Nick currently teaches at Vanderbilt University, and along with his wife, has two French bulldogs.
Yeah.
I've been looking at the pictures. They're so cute.
Thank you. Yeah, they are social media darlings. They have their own Instagram, so
we'll make sure to pop that in the comments.
Sure thing.
Nick, how have you been coping with the current global crisis?
You know, everybody asks, whether you're just walking in the halls of the apartment complex or talking to students. It's like, well, I can't really complain. I can't change anything about it, and I'm just trying to keep a positive mental attitude about things. Everything's changed. Nothing's going to be the same, but at least I know that I can continue on doing something positive and important to me.
Great, sounds great. All right, we'll crack on with a few questions. Of course, Superbone Jazz Trombone Quartet. We're looking at jazz trombonists and top ones around the world. And of course, the first question we've got to ask is, who is your favorite jazz trombonist? And give us a recording that you love.
Or currently, there's just so many. It's just always cycling through for me. But really been putting my ears on Frank Rosolino as of late. Thinking probably anything from Stan Kenton is amazing. I really like the song I Got It Bad, and That Ain't Good. It's just a really, really tasty solo that he has.
Yeah, it's a brilliant track, isn't it? I had to listen to it before. Frank's, brilliant player. His soloing's got so much interest in it because he ornaments everything. He doesn't just play a normal melody. It's got some trills. It's got some fancy stuff. It's really good.
Lovely stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Kenton stuff especially. I get into the Kenton arranging style. It's brilliant. No, fantastic track. We'll chuck a link in the description there. I think the first thing that, as a trombonist, when you pick a favorite player, you want to find out what you can replicate from their playing. What's Frank's kind of thing that you own in on? What do you like about him?
It's tunefulness. He has this ability to make melodies very listenable, make them just attention-getting, and that's something that I'm always striving for, is just making sure that whatever I play is going to be listenable and accessible to an audience.
Great. Yeah, definitely. That keeps coming across to me with the jazz greats. They can talk about technique till the cows come home, but
sure, yeah.
It's about the melody, it's about the tune. So yeah, definitely. Let's move on to your career, and let's talk about your first teacher or your biggest influence.
Yeah, so that probably goes to my teenage years in high school before college. I studied with a gentleman named David Pierce, and he just really formed my trombone playing and my pursuit of music. He was a fantastic classical musician and jazz musician as well. He was a composer, arranger. He has a lot of credits to his name, writing jingles for Taco Bell and things like that. But he really fostered a love of music making at an early age. And then when I got to school at North Texas, I followed I just followed this one gentleman named Carl Murr. He played lead trombone in the top jazz ensemble there, and as a freshman, an 18-year-old, I just was like, I want to sound like him. I want to do what he's doing. interestingly enough, he got hired to play in Toby Keith's band, and then years later passed the job on to me.
Wow, there you go. Definitely following his footsteps.
He was a great mentor. And then my top educator, influencer, just all around hero, was the late Vern Kagarice. Just an absolute legend, and he was just a fine musician and trombonist in person, and he was my number one cheerleader, going through school and with the quartet and everything.
Great. Fantastic.
Very, very great encourager.
Yeah, well, that's important for a trombone teacher. I've met some that are not so encouraging, and sometimes it works. And
sure,
I've had some that have been too encouraging, and everything's a bit too easy. So strike the balance.
There's a fine line, yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So the other thing I wondered about, obviously you've got a few things on your plate at the moment. Well, once this all finishes, and you mentioned Toby Keith. Do you want to give us a pump up for a project that you're really proud of?
Sure. Yeah, I've been working on this album that's coming out soon. I don't want to give a date or a time frame just because coronavirus put everything into perspective for us. However, I've been producing the Aries Trombone Quartet project. That features Ian Bousfield, Joe Alessi, Jeremy Wilson, and Jim Markey. The four of them have just put on this incredible album. It's all done. It's in the can. We are currently, mixing and editing and mastering everything together, but it's fantastic. I've said it to just a few people, but I'll tell you, I think that it's going to be the greatest trombone quartet album of our lifetime.
That's a big thing to say, because
it's huge. So stay tuned on that. It's the Aries Trombone Quartet.
Yeah, because they've got to be better than Maniacal Four or or Superbone.
They may not be as handsome, but
or not have as many YouTube views.
It's going to be a fantastic album. So I think everybody should get their hands on it.
They're just incredible players. I think Ian was at that Slide Factory that I met you at.
Yeah.
And blew me away. He played Bluebells, and I've never heard anyone play it as fast or as clean. It's incredible.
He stood right next to me when Maniacal Four played Led Zeppelin's Kashmir on stage with the New Trombone Collective. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think that was my first, side by side with Ian. It wasn't a master class. It wasn't a lesson, but it was a lesson. I bet. Hey, you sound great.
He can play. Yeah, for sure. That's brilliant. I can't wait to hear it, to be honest. I caught the Horn Hangout that's been, I think, Sarah Willis, I think, has been doing them, and caught a little bit of the trombones, and it just, blows my mind that you can get 16 of the greatest trombonists in one screen.
Legends.
Incredible. You're just watching, Niels Langren talk to Joe Alessi, and you're like, when does this ever happen?
Right.
I think it's brilliant, really, how the trombone community comes together, and no one's kind of too far above anyone. Everyone's happy to chat. Everyone's happy to.
I think when you get to see it up close, that becomes very apparent. When we keep our heroes far away and on a pedestal, that's where they remain until you're up close and personal with them. Then you realize they're just people. They're good people.
Yeah, of course. So last question before we leave you there. The question I asked Mike last night was about when we're playing, there's always something funny that happens. Have you got anything that's happened in the performance that was unusual and you thought was quite funny? Sure.
My boss, my employer, my country music hero, Toby Keith, he kind of pranked me on a stage one night at a show. and I thought that I was in extreme peril because I was playing a solo, and my hair got caught in something. At the time, I had a top knot, a man bun. I don't recommend it, but I had one, and I thought it got stuck on something while I was performing a solo in front of tens of thousands of people. And so I kind of leaned to the side to check the jumbo screen next to me to see what I was stuck on, and it wasn't anything. It was just my boss, Toby, holding it and pointing and laughing. And then I look back out at the audience while I'm playing my solo, and they're all pointing and laughing at me. I was like, I'm dead. So I let down my hair after that night, and I never knotted it again. So, I'm not gonna.
Oh, that's so mean.
That ever again. Good prank. I learned my lesson for sure.
I bet. Yeah, I mean that's hilarious.
Don't have, top knots, kids.
No. What is that anyway?
It's a thing of the past. We'll keep it.
All right. Well, we might leave it there, Nick. Thanks so much for joining us on the Superbone channel.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Michael.
No worries. It's been, I think it's 7 years since I met you. So hopefully we will hear from the Aries Trombone Quartet soon.
Yes.
Good luck for getting back to work. I'm sure you're keen to do that.
I'm looking forward to whenever that happens.
If you want to check out any of Nick's stuff, check that out. And we'll see you at another time for another interview. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks for watching.